Okay, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the League of Women Voters Kitsap and League of Women Voters of Washington Education Fund, welcome to the 6th in our series of candidate forums for the 2025 general election season. My name is Mara Louise Schmerfeld. I am your neighbor from Port Orchard. I will be your moderator in this forum. Thank you for the City of Bremerton for the use of this hearing room. Tonight's forum is being recorded and will be available at the League of Women Voter Kitsap's website. Just FYI, you may notice that when you see the candidates speak, and myself, there may be a slight delay on that recording up there. Everything's fine. That's just the way they make the recording to make sure that when it's available to everyone online, that other people can take in the whole show, but there is that weird delay, just so you know. Tonight we will hear from the two candidates for the position of Bremerton Municipal Court Judge, which you may hear referred to as BMC Judge. The successful candidate will hear and decide cases ranging from misdemeanor criminal charges such as domestic violence offenses, assault, theft, and drug offenses, misdemeanor criminal traffic offenses such as driving under the influence and reckless driving, as well as gross misdemeanors and parking infractions. I want to disclose that I am a federal administrative law judge, but that neither of the candidates has ever appeared before me, and based on their practice areas, I do not expect that either of them ever will. The public was invited to submit questions through the League's website, and I would like to thank those of you who did so. To those in attendance tonight, I encourage you to submit questions for the candidates by writing them on the cards that are being circulated by the League members in the room. It's Washington state policy that a judge should expect to be the subject of public scrutiny that might be viewed as burdensome if applied to other citizens. I want you to bear that in mind tonight when you evaluate these judge candidates, because the public scrutiny should begin here. Once you write your question on a question card, hold up your card and a volunteer will collect it. Please keep your questions as concise as possible and phrased so that both candidates may provide an answer. Before we go further, I just want to say a brief word about the League of Women Voters. Founded during the days of the women's suffrage movement, the League envisions a democracy in which every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate. The League is proud to be nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties. The League invites people of all genders who are 16 years or older to join. We would like to acknowledge that this forum is being held within the ancestral territories of the Suquamish and S'Klallam people. As I mentioned, please turn off your cell phones, put away any recording devices. The forum is being recorded and will be posted on the League of Women Voters Kitsap website. No part of this recording may be used for any purpose without the explicit written permission of the League of Women Voters Kitsap. Now let's introduce the candidates. Tom Weaver and Steve King, who are seated in the order in which they will appear on your general election ballot. Gentlemen, thanks to each of you for coming this evening. From now on, please hold your applause until the end of the forum so that we can get in as many questions as possible. Here are the rules of this forum. Each candidate may deliver a 90-second opening statement, and at the end of the forum, a 90-second closing statement. Opening statements will be in the order of the candidate's name as they appear on the ballot, and closing statements will be in the reverse order. Each of you will have the opportunity to address each of the questions asked in rotating orders, meaning that every other question will be addressed first by either candidate Weaver or candidate King. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer each question. Our timekeeper, League member Carol Larson, will indicate to you when there are 30 seconds left and when time is up. Crosstalk is not permitted. All remarks by the candidates are to be directed to the audience. Any questions by the candidates should be asked of me as the moderator. And now let's hear some opening statements, starting with Mr. Weaver.
Thank you very much. I want to extend my gratitude to the League of Women Voters for this forum. This is not my first forum with the League of Women Voters. My last forum was actually promoting my book on the Electoral College, if anybody has if anybody participated in that one. But here today I'm before you as a candidate for the Bremerton Municipal Court. I'm very proud to be a Bremerton resident. My family moved to Bremerton in 1981. I've been a lawyer in this community for 32 years, practicing almost entirely in the areas that are likely to be before me as a Bremerton Municipal Court Judge, specifically criminal law, traffic infractions, et cetera. The areas that are probably of most concern to the public are areas regarding DUI and domestic violence. Those are areas that I'm very familiar with. I'm sure as we go along, we're going to be discussing some of the issues that pertain to the Bremerton Municipal Court over the past 4 years. I do want to say as a general proposition that in addition to being a lawyer for 32 years, I've also been a small business owner for the past 20, which gives me management experience, supervising personnel, et cetera, which I think is going to be very beneficial as we go forward.
Thank you. Mr. King.
Thank you. Again, my name is Steve King. I'm a candidate for Bremerton Municipal Court Judge. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for having this forum this evening. This is kind of an exciting opportunity to get to let you get to know me a little bit and for me to kind of talk about the things that I think that are going to be important for the next judge for Bremerton Municipal Court. The state of the court right now is not good. We kind of know that. We've been reading about it for a long time. Turnover there is equivalent or worse than McDonald's. There's poor operations. Things don't go smoothly through that court. I think I'm uniquely qualified as a candidate to become the judge of Bremerton Municipal Court. More so than just having the experience in court and as an attorney. I've been a pro tem judge, or was a pro tem judge at Bremerton for 13 years. I was a pro tem judge at Gig Harbor Municipal Court for 6 years. I've learned the operations of the court, certainly from the front side, through that experience. I have a wide breadth and depth of experience in law, family law attorney, criminal defense attorney for almost the past 20 years, including public defender. But the most important thing is going to be the day-to-day operations of the court, and I think that I'm most uniquely qualified for that. I have a plan. We're going to bring in the resources that we know are out there that can help us get it together. I've been a business owner. I know what I know what I don't know, and I think we can make the court run efficiently. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions from the audience that you have written down already you'd like for us to collect? If you could please raise them up, raise your cards up. Okay, let's begin with the questions for the candidates. The first question will be to you, Mr. Weaver. The position of judge is very different than one of an advocate. What led you to pursue the municipal court judge position?
Well, I'm going to expand on the question. The position of the Bremerton Municipal Court Judge is actually unique in this county as far as judges go, because it is a full-time position in a court with one judge, and as a result, that judge is both the sole arbitrator of the legal disputes that come before the judge, and also the chief administrator of the court. And that makes the position extremely unique. From my perspective, I'm not concerned about stepping into the role of the decision maker. I have experience as a judge pro tem in Bremerton Municipal Court. I also have a lot of experience as a court-appointed arbitrator in Superior Court. And I'm very familiar with the role of being a neutral decision maker. But the reality is, with the Bremerton Municipal Court, in this position that it is right now, the role of chief administrator is actually probably going to be the more difficult and important role, at least in the initial stages. The court has experienced over 200% turnover in the past 4 years. The staff is young and inexperienced, and I believe that this is an exciting opportunity for someone like myself who loves this community, who's been in this community for a long time, to step in and fill that role.
Thank you. Mr. King, do you want me to repeat that question? The position of judge is very different than one of an advocate. What led you to pursue the municipal court judge position?
As I said, I've been a judge pro tem at Bremerton Municipal Court. I'm trying to remember back into the dark ages when I started, which was probably about 2005, 2006 maybe. And my first experience there was just really positive. I had an enjoyable day. I felt like I did some good. And I felt like every time I came back there, I did something positive for the community. So I really have a soft spot for the court in my heart. And I've seen what's happened to the court over the last few years and just kind of seen it not be the same place. If I can use the term, the vibe there is different. It's not a place where I think people go in and enjoy what they're doing. I don't think it's a place where they go in and necessarily do the best justice for the people of Bremerton. I want to fix that. And that's really why I wanted to run for judge. I've never run for judge before. I've never put my name in except for maybe one time, a long time ago, for a judge position. This is something different for me. And I feel very strongly about the fact that I think that I can go in there and do something about it. And I feel very strongly about the fact that something needs to be done. So I look forward to having the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. The next question is also to you, Mr. King. Mm-hmm. Describe your current practice and how it has prepared you for the municipal court judge position.
My current practice is a little bit different from what the other 23 years of my practice had been, which is I'm currently an in-house counsel for Peninsula Community Health Services. Prior to that, obviously, I was a trial attorney. I was a private attorney, a public defender, in court almost every day. Now I go drive by court and kind of, longingly miss it. What I've learned from being in a large dynamic organization like Peninsula is that there are reasons for processes and procedures, which when I was the private business owner, they were all up here. I didn't have to write them down because there was me and one or two staff people that would take care of the business, and we didn't really need to have things written down. I've learned that for a large organization, you need to have these things in place. And I've learned that they're there for a reason and they're important. And so, oddly, it's kind of made me, I think, more prepared for stepping into a large organization and leading it, because I kind of know what the constitution, the underlying laws of the organization are, and that's in all those practices and procedures and making sure those are followed. As I said, there are people who are going to be able to come in and help us do that, who have even much more experience than I do even doing that stuff, and I'm looking forward to having them in there. But it's a different skill set, and I'm been very pleased to have been able to get it.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver, do you want me to repeat that question?
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
So I own a small law office. It's within walking distance of here on the other side of the Manette Bridge, and it's been there for 20 years. My practice is currently almost entirely criminal law at every level. I do municipal court work, district court work, superior court work, court of appeals work, Supreme Court work, federal district court work. I have argued approximately 400 jury trials and about the same number of appeals. I have about 60 published cases in from the Court of Appeals, about 20 of them in the Washington Supreme Court. I have the last 2 cases that have produced published cases out of Bremerton Municipal Court, and one at the Supreme Court and one at the Court of Appeals level. So I have dealt with almost every issue of criminal law that you can possibly imagine, including some very arcane issues that are highly unlikely to ever reach that court. Hopefully they never will. But I feel very comfortable understanding and knowing the rules of procedure, the rules of evidence, and I'm very confident I can step into that role very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. This next one is also for you, Mr. Weaver. What do you plan to do to stabilize staffing at the courthouse?
This is probably the most important question that we're going to get, quite frankly. As I said earlier, I have no doubt that I can step into the judicial side of things, but the administrative side, right now, the court is in chaos. What's essential, 4 years ago when Judge Doctor retired, the Bremerton Municipal Court had one of the most professional, well-trained, friendly clerk staff in the county. And the goal is to get that back. That requires training and make sure everybody understands the procedures, and it also means that they do it with a smile. If the problem can be solved, it should be solved efficiently. If it can't be solved, it needs to be explained in a friendly manner to the person why it can't be solved. Leadership comes from the top. President Truman famously said the buck stops here, and I believe that the buck stops with the judge in the Bremerton Municipal Court because it's a one-judge court. Picking a chief administrator is going to be the most important thing. I don't intend to go in like a elephant in a china shop firing everybody. I'm going to go in and I'm going to observe. I want to know who is there and whether they are trainable to stay.
Okay, thank you. Same question for you. Mr. King, do you want me to repeat it?
No, thank you. I think I remember it. As I've kind of mentioned in passing, I have a plan to try and get this court back where it needs to go. Mr. Weaver and I certainly agree that it's not in good shape right now. Chaos is probably not too far off the mark in terms of the operations of the court. When I decided to run for this position, I started talking to the people I know, the judges that I know, certainly at the district court level and the municipal court level. I've talked to court administrators I've worked with over the years, and all of them have basically said, we're willing, we're able, and we're available to you if you need our help. And I'm going to take full advantage of those resources. There's statewide resources that the current judge was not able to fully take advantage of that will come in, administrators from around the state who will come in and help train the staff, train the administrator, and if they need be, and probably will need be, train the judge as to how some things need to work. And I think that with that already lined up to go, we're going to go in, we're going to see what things look like, we're going to see what works, what doesn't, who needs more training than the others, and we're going to go from there. I'm going to lead by example. If I need assistance, I'm going to take it. I'm going to ask for it. If the court has an opportunity to fix itself with the help of these administrators and judges, we're going to take it.
Thank you. Again, to you, Mr. King, how will you ensure that all litigants are treated fairly, impartially, and with respect in the court?
I would hope that first and foremost, that's my personality, that I have always tried to deal with clients that way. As a judge pro tem, I think I've always tried to treat people fairly and give them the benefit of the doubt and to be respectful to them. I plan to continue that. One of the things that we need to be aware of, let's be honest here, I'm a white male of a certain age, and that's going to carry with it some potentially preconceived notions, and certainly either from the litigants and the attorneys or maybe from myself. My job is to make sure that I am aware of any of those preconceived notions, make sure that they do not come into the calculation when I'm considering bail, when I'm considering a sentence, when I'm considering an issue that's before me. It's called unconscious bias. tell our juries about it now. They get to see a video about it. And if we expect the juries to be aware of it, we better make sure that the judges are aware of it. And I think we can always find ways to examine that ourselves. And I think that's the number one item to make sure that we're following, is just make sure we're being fair to everyone.
Mr. Weaver, did you want me to repeat that?
No, I think I understand the question. 32 years of representing people of every race, class, ethnic origin, immigration status, language, sexual orientation, gender, religion. I treat everybody that I represent with respect. I handle their cases based upon the facts that I'm presented and not who they are. And that's been my practice for the past 32 years as a judge, and that's how I intend to continue to practice. My past 32 years as a lawyer, and that's how I intend to continue as a judge. There's no reason to change on that. The Washington Supreme Court has been extremely explicit, both in its rulemaking authority and its decisions, that they consider this of utmost importance, and I agree with those decisions, and I intend to continue to practice in accordance with them. Thank you.
Mr. Weaver, how important do you think that judicial temperament is for this position, and why do you feel that way?
Well, judicial temperament is obviously important. The thing about judging is when litigants come in with very divergent views, one of them is going to walk out winning, and one of them is going to walk out losing. But both deserve to walk out feeling like they have been heard. Both deserve to know that the judge heard their side, and even if the judge disagreed, that they had their opportunity to present their position. They also deserve the right to walk out of the courthouse feeling safe. One of the issues that I have been concerned about for the past few years is that people don't always feel safe going into a courthouse. And I believe that that is very, people should be allowed to come in angry and yet not make the other side feel unsafe. This is particularly a problem in domestic violence cases, which I have a lot of experience on, protection order issues. Everyone should deserve to know that the courthouse is a safe zone. They can express their views and have their cases decided in a safe manner.
Thank you. Okay, you're up again. Mr. Weaver, do you believe that the court currently is adequately funded? And if not, how will you ensure that it has sufficient resources to ensure public safety and provide defendants due process? Oh, I apologize. My apologies. Mr. King, you want me to repeat that question before?
No,
since you heard another one?
I
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you very much.
Judicial temperament's an important thing. It's how the court's going to run on a day-to-day basis. It affects staff, it affects the litigants, it affects the lawyers. I think the judicial temperament is to be fair. Make sure that you not only are giving an appearance of being fair, but by just actually being fair, listening carefully to what litigants have to say. One of the most important things people say when they go into court, whether it's in a criminal matter, a family law matter, a domestic violence protection order matter, even a traffic ticket, is that they want their day in court. When they show up, they want their day in court. And that really just means I want to be heard. I want you to listen to me and give me a fair shake. And that's, I think, what my judicial temperament is I pride myself on listening and giving the person the opportunity to tell me their side of the story, Now, I may believe it, I may buy it, I may agree with it, I may not. But if they get the opportunity to tell me their side of the story and to get their day in court, oftentimes then they will go out feeling, well, at least I had my shot. And I think that's of vital importance when you're running a courtroom. You treat people with respect, you give them your ear, you give them your attention, and then you rule.
Thank you. Now, Mr. King, do you believe that the court currently is adequately funded? And if not, how will you ensure that it has sufficient resources to ensure public safety and provide defendants due process?
No administrator is ever going to say that they are overfunded, and I will not be the one to come in and say the court is overfunded. The court is facing a variety of fiscal challenges, not the least of which includes public defender staffing levels. It's the court that makes the contract with the public defender's office. We're the ones who have to try to figure out how many attorneys we need to have in the court to make it run efficiently and what the cost of that's going to be. And those levels are changing, and it's going to be a little bit more interesting in the next few years. We cannot rely just on the people who come in with traffic tickets and fines to expect them to make the court pay for everything. We know that's a failed model. I think it's, if I remember correctly, I believe it's in Franklin, Missouri, where we learned that the hard way, that it's a failed model. It's going to require coordination and working with the city, with the council, and making connections with them, letting them see the importance and the value of the municipal court, and make sure that we can find any funding source that we can. If we want other programs like drug court or some other kind of treatment court, we have to find every grant that's available to us to make that a viable alternative. We need to find every community partner that we can work with to make that a viable alternative. But it will be an uphill battle every year to make sure the court's adequately funded.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver, do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I understand the question. Building on a little bit on what Mr. King just said, a lot of the problems with the court have been well documented. One problem with the court right now that is less well documented is that the primary public defender, who was the supervisor, the trainer of the public defenders, unexpectedly passed away a couple months ago. And so the public defenders are essentially without an experienced supervisor. The court has been scrambling to try and deal with that. They are also dealing with the fact that conflict attorneys have been largely unwilling to come into the court because of the chaos that has been created.
Mr. Weaver, I'm sorry, could you explain to the audience what you mean by conflict attorneys?
Sure. So when an attorney, when a case comes in and the attorney who's assigned has a conflict of interest, then the court will usually reassign that to a different attorney who does not have a conflict. My understanding is that Bremerton right now only has one conflict attorney who resides in Tacoma and is only willing to take a limited number of cases. The court has been scrambling to find conflict attorneys. I also understand that the treatment court, the drug court in Bremerton, that the court has allowed the grant that was funding that to lapse, in part because there weren't a lot of participants in it. All of these things need to be addressed, and it's going to be a Herculean task, quite frankly.
Okay. You sort of anticipated the next question I have for you. What is your view of the proper role of the therapeutic court in terms of balancing the need for rehabilitation versus public safety?
Well, you know, when I started the practice of law in the early 90s, there was a huge shift in the 90s regarding the approach that was taken towards criminal justice. On the one hand, there was a shift towards punitive sanctions against the most serious offenders. We introduced hard time for armed crime, 3 strikes you're out, indeterminate plus sentencing for sex offenders. At the same time, we also saw a huge shift in rehabilitation towards low-level offenders. We saw first the introduction of drug courts, then mental health courts. Kitsap County Superior Court has a veterans court. And what has been interesting to me, watching as kind of a side player in all of this, is we have seen a significant reduction in recidivism. The most serious offenders are being locked up for significant periods of time, while the low-level offenders are having their immediate needs addressed. And I think that that is what we want out of our criminal justice system. We want people to quit reoffending. We want people to learn to not commit crimes. And we are seeing a reduction in recidivism, and I think it's important that we continue along that path.
Thank you. Mr. King, did you want me to repeat that question?
No, thank you. Municipal courts are rehabilitative courts. The misdemeanor courts, like a district court, the job is not to throw people in jail. The job is to try and help them fix the problem, whatever that problem might be. For many years, district court, municipal courts just kind of went along and told people to go get drug treatment or alcohol treatment, to go get domestic violence treatment, whatever kind of treatment was necessary. There wasn't always a lot of help getting there. Therapeutic courts provide the help, and we know they work. We know they cut down recidivism. We know that they get people going in their right direction and getting their lives back together. It's not easy, and a lot of litigants and defendants don't want to do it because it's not easy. Sometimes you spend more time in the treatment court than you do in doing jail and probation. But in the end, it always can be a good result. I had the privilege of being the first attorney to represent defendants in juvenile court in the individualized treatment court. That was a fantastic experience to see young people with a variety of problems, drug problems, alcohol problems, come in, work hard, and get better. And the vast majority of them in the 3 years I was there got better. So I'm a big fan of therapeutic courts.
Thank you. Mr. King, in light of the circumstances leading to the removal of the former incumbent judge, if you are elected, what specific steps would you take to restore public confidence in the municipal court?
The first step I think I would take is to deal with the hard part, and that is get started working on the back room, get working on the clerk's office. That's going to be probably the hardest part of the job, and it's going to be the hardest goal we're going to have to meet. As I said, I'm going to bring in everyone and anyone I can to help us get there, make the court run efficiently. We're going to make sure that bench warrants, when they're issued, go out to law enforcement. When they're quashed, that those orders go out to law enforcement. If a no-contact order is issued, we're going to make sure those go out to law enforcement. And if those get lifted, we're going to make sure that happens in terms of them being told to law enforcement as well. I think just seeing the court operate on a smooth, day-to-day basis is going to be the best thing that we can do. I've said that being a judge is a bit like being an offensive lineman on a football team. You don't want to hear about them, because if you do, it means that they keep getting the holding penalties and they get their number called over and over again. And that's not where you want to be. You don't want your number being called. As a judge, you don't want your name being in the newspapers because something wrong has happened, most likely. So my goal will be just to keep, if my name shows up in the newspapers, it's because we're talking to kids, we're talking to organizations, we're telling people about what we are doing in that court and what we're doing right in that court. And that will be, I think, the next best thing will be public education.
Mr. Weaver, do you want to hear the question again?
As I said earlier, it's not my intent to go into Bremerton Municipal Court like an elephant in a china shop. My intent is to go in initially as an observer. There's a staff there, and I believe that they are well-intentioned. What they need is training. What they need is guidance. What they need is management. And so it is my hope that we can work with the staff that we have. There may be some replacements that need to be made, but I don't intend to do that initially. That is something that will come with time. You know, as I said earlier, when Judge Doctor retired 4 years ago, you could pick up the phone and actually talk to a human being and say, I have a problem that I need fixed. And they would say, let me see what I can do. And if the problem was fixable, they would fix it efficiently and with a smile. And that's what I want to see this court get back to. I don't want people to call in and have to listen to an endless recording and hitting a bunch of buttons and never actually talking to a human being. I hate that as a person, and I don't want people to have to experience that with the court.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver, what would the people who currently work with and for you say about your management style?
I expect people to do their job, to do it efficiently. I think the attorneys who have worked for me in the past, I currently have no attorneys currently working for me, but I've had quite a few attorneys over the years. I think they would say that I'm always there to listen to issues and give practical suggestions on how the issue can be resolved. I bring a lot of experience as a lawyer to everyday issues, and they are always free to come to me for advice, and I'm always willing to give it. But I do expect people to get their job done. I am not the type of leader who's constantly on your butt, as it were. But if things are not happening that need to happen, I will address it.
Thank you. Mr. King, same question?
I'm an old teacher. Way back in the many dark, dark ages, I taught in public schools back in Colorado. And you learn a lot being a teacher, but one of the things you also learn is that can stay ingrained with you, whether you like teaching kids or not, whether you think that's your best profession or not. The idea of being a teacher and kind of that thought process stays with you. I like teaching. I like being a mentor. I was honored to receive an award from the County Bar Association. It was a professionalism award, and that was based in large part on my mentorship of young attorneys as they came into the courtrooms where I worked, which is usually the district court criminal courtrooms. I think right now, the people I work with will describe me as a mentor and as a teacher. I think the people that I previously employed would use those same terms. I think they consider me to be pretty even-keeled. I don't get real excited about things. I expect them to do what they needed to do during the day when they would come and work. And if they would meet that expectation, terrific. If they didn't, I try and find a way to get them to where they needed to, what they need to learn so they could meet that expectation. And I do it by trying to teach, by trying to mentor, and by trying to lead.
Okay, another question to you, Mr. King. If elected, what specific steps would you take to ensure that the court staff would feel comfortable expressing any good faith concerns about the court's operations?
Well, I think that comes back a lot to the last question, which is, how do I lead? And that's going to be, if they need to come to me and they have concerns, they need to know that I have an open door, that they can come and talk to me. If there are staff issues that can't go through the court administrator, that have to come directly to me, we'll deal with it that way. We'll try and follow, again, the steps that we'll have set up that I'm sure actually already exist in that court in terms of working with the staff and the unions to try and make sure that we follow those steps. But the door is always going to be open. I'm happy to be an ear. I'm happy to give advice. I'm happy just to listen. And I think if we set up that kind of an environment, I think then the staff will feel comfortable with that. Certainly when I come in on the first day, it's not going to be, you know, my way or the highway, folks. Have a good day. It's going to be, I'm here. I want to make this court work. I want you to be the best person and the best employee that you can be. I want you to do the best job that you can do. And I'm going to try and help you every way I can do that. I think if we establish that culture right from the get-go, I think that that will certainly help with making the staff want to stay, want to work, and be willing to talk to me.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver?
Well, I don't know how many people watched the CJC hearings regarding our current judge, but one of the major issues, recurring issues in the hearing was that staff who identified problems either were too afraid to go to the judge to express their concerns about the problems, or if they did go to the judge to express their concerns, the concerns were dismissed frequently with hostility. That's unacceptable. The staff needs, as I said earlier, the Bremerton Municipal Court Judge is part-time arbitrator, part-time administrator, and is the chief administrator, ultimately the chief administrator of the court. The staff, it's a relatively small staff. They need to feel free to come to the judge and say, this is my concern, and this is what I think needs to happen. Now, I may or may not agree with them, but I need to listen, just like I need to listen to the litigants in front of me and hear both sides, I need to hear from the staff. And to dismiss their concerns, or even worse, to dismiss them with hostility, is completely unacceptable and will not be the practice of the Bremerton Municipal Court going forward.
Mr. Weaver, safety is always a concern in judicial proceedings. Do you believe that the municipal court's current security measures, policies, and procedures are adequate? And if not, what would you do to improve them?
Safety is always a concern. I actually expressed this earlier this evening. I have taken issue with the Kitsap County Prosecutor's Office on several cases regarding courtroom security. The policy of the Kitsap County Prosecutor's Office, from my perspective, is to ignore issues of courthouse security, and I think that is unacceptable. People who get assaulted in a courtroom, or people who do the assaultive behavior in a courtroom deserve to be prosecuted and should be prosecuted, and that is not the policy of the Kitsap County Prosecutor's Office, and I have been very vocal about this with Chad Enright and his predecessors, and I will continue to say that. There was an incident in Judge Doctor's courtroom about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago where a very angry litigant assaulted the prosecutor and tried to assault the judge. And that is unacceptable. As I said, everyone who comes into a courtroom, regardless of their emotions or regardless of their convictions about whether they're right or wrong, deserves to be heard and deserves to feel safe. And that is of absolute importance to me and something that I'm going to make sure everyone feels.
Okay, thank you. And same question for you, Mr. King.
Thank you. These times that we live in now are very different than probably when I first started practicing law 25 years ago, and probably certainly different from when Mr. Weaver started practicing law even before that. People come in with, or at least some people come in with the thought that they can do whatever they want, wherever they want. You see, certainly go on YouTube, and there's videos all over the place of judges being assaulted, of lawyers being assaulted, of litigants being assaulted, family members jumping over benches to try and get to people. This is going to sound like a bit of a nerdish, bureaucratic, wonky answer, but we're going to look at those policies and procedures. They're there for a reason, and as I mentioned earlier, I've learned that they actually serve a purpose. And we're going to take a look at them and see what they have in place, because we need to know what's going on and how they handle things. They've changed court security there over the last few years. They've brought in a private agency. They used to have, I think, the same security officers that they had at the main courthouse in Port Orchard, and they brought in a private security firm to do that. I've been there, and I've met some of these security officers over the years, and I think they're good officers and they're good folks. But we have to figure it out, and we need to look and see how they're doing things now to make sure that we can keep it safe for everyone.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you both.
Thank you.
Before the candidates give their closing statements, I want to remind everyone that the link to this forum is located at lwv-kitsap.org. To learn about the items on your ballot, I'll refer you to the website of the Kitsap Auditor's Office, as well as the official state and local voters pamphlet sent to you in the mail. The Auditor's Office will mail out ballots by Friday, October 17th, marking the start of an 18-day voting period through November 4th. Due to a newly updated Postal Service policy, the Auditor's Office is recommending voters use a drop box by 8 p.m. on November 4th or return their ballot by mail by October 28th. This is extremely important. The auditor is warning us that dropping your ballot in the mail after October 28th is gambling that it will not be counted based on this Postal Service policy. So if you're late in filing your ballot, please consult kitsap.gov to find a ballot drop box location near you, or even easier, just Google Kitsap ballot drop off and it will take you to the right place on the kitsap.gov page. Now let's get some closing statements from the candidates, starting with Mr. King.
First, thanks again for the opportunity to come in and speak to you about this. It might not seem like the largest office in the state, and it's not, but for us it's the most important office, and that's our municipal court judge. First, I want to tell you a little something about the gentleman sitting next to me. Tom Weaver is an outstanding trial attorney. I'm not going to even try and pretend that he's not. If I have a legal issue and I need a defense attorney, Tom will be one of the first numbers I would call. I have a lot of respect for him and his skills in the courtroom. That being said, I think I am the better candidate for this position. The reason being, again, temperament, personality, experience. How I deal with people on a day-to-day basis is as a mentor, as a teacher, as someone who listens, as someone who's going to try and get the court back operationally to the place it's supposed to be. I've got a plan. I've already basically got the plan up and running, waiting for the opportunity come the 1st of January to go in and observe and see what we need and bring those resources in. The day-to-day law things, I've been in a courtroom on a daily basis for 15 to 20 years. I've heard all the issues. I've argued most of them. I've sat as a judge pro tem and heard most of those issues. I've made those decisions for a long time. So I think I am a good candidate, and I would ask for the vote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you. Again, thank you to the League of Women Voters for this forum. I also want to compliment my opponent. He is a great guy. I ran for this same position 4 years ago, and I lost, fair and square, because more people voted for my opponent than they voted for me. I didn't ask for a recount. I continued to practice law. When I ran 4 years ago, I received the nearly unanimous endorsement of almost every Kitsap County judge. And when I decided to run again this time, I went back to those same judges and asked for their endorsement, and I got a little pushback, I'm going to be honest. Unlike 4 years ago, I didn't get any pushback. And the reason I got a little pushback is because my opponent is a highly qualified individual. And if he wins, I'm going to shake his hand and I'm going to congratulate him. But ultimately, what I heard over and over again from the judges is that although we are both qualified, and you've heard us all day, all night, all evening, that we've said very similar things about the questions, The judges have nearly again unanimously said that I am better equipped to take over the court than Mr. King. Supreme Court Justice Cheryl McLeod, retired Bremerton Municipal Court Judge James Doctor, Kitsap County Superior Court judges. You can read them on my website. I'll try and respect the rules.
Thank you both, gentlemen. This concludes our forum tonight, and I want to thank you for your participation and thank the audience for your questions.